So today I want to talk a little bit about a process in training mode that you can and should be using when trying to learn a new character in Street Fighter 6. There is something that I was reminded of recently when I was playing some Ryu in Ranked, where I just had a little bit of a reminder of something that I should have been doing before I went back into ranked matches, and I didn't do that, and ultimately I was getting my ass kicked for it. But I wanted to show this because I think it's something that's really important, and I don't think a lot of people are using it as much. There are some nuances there that need some explaining and stuff, but generally speaking, this is something that is very effective for learning a new character in this game when you're just getting started. And you're trying to kind of figure out where to go with the character. This is a good starting point and something I've used in the past a lot. So we're going to be getting into this here. We're going to be using Ryu as the example. And today we are talking about normals and finding the ones that are not only safe on block, but advantageous on block, and knowing what those are and how to use them, how to find the most effective ones, and kind of what that leads to. We want to find Ryu's normals that are advantageous on block. So whenever you go to an opponent who is blocking and you hit them with something, you can see here on the frame meter on the screen that it shows you the startup of the move, which is 10 frames for standing heavy punch, and the advantage on block, which is -2, which means I'm at a disadvantage with this normal hitting it from this range. Basically, this means I'm safe because the fastest normals in this game are 4-frame normals. So I could do this from up close, and Ed, who has Crouching Light Punch as a 4-framer, he won't be able to punish me. I could still block, right? Very simple concept. I'm -2, so I'm at a disadvantage, but I could still block because I'm technically safe. But we want advantaged normals on block, so if we go through all of the normals here, we see standing medium punch is -1, crouching medium punch is 0 frames, which means I am safe, and I can also do some trade stuff, which we'll get into later. Standing jab is -1, crouching jab -1, standing light kick -4, so if we do that too close, we can get punished for that. So I'm blocking after that, and I'm still getting hit, as you can see, because it's -4. Ed's crouching light kick, or crouching light punch, is 4-frame startup. Pretty simple. Shows you that you are punishable there. Crouching medium kick is -6. Crouching heavy punch is -7, so you're getting punished a lot worse with that. -13 is a big punish for the opponent. They can do a lot of stuff there. That is a big punish counter window. So standing heavy kick is +1, so that means I'm at an advantage here. So that is our first advantage normal there, standing heavy kick. We also have forward heavy punch, which is +3, which is kind of the party starter for Ryu. So you got standing heavy kick, you've got forward heavy punch. Those are his two main plus on block normals. Obviously sweep is not going to be that. Forward heavy kick is -4. You could space that out to make it a lot safer, but it's, that goes into something more of what we'll talk about later. That's not really what we're looking for yet. Overhead is -1, so you're safe on it, but, not much for frame traps or anything like that. So what this means is if you do a forward heavy punch, and the opponent tries to answer back after that forward heavy punch with a quick normal of their own, you are +3 on block, so you can throw something else out to frame trap them. So essentially, your move is coming out before theirs and stopping theirs in its tracks. So I get a counter hit, crouching medium punch there, which you can convert into all kinds of things. You should be able to convert into, like, for example, Denjin heavy punch Hashogeki, get a combo out of that. But essentially, it helps you with your pressure strings and opening the opponent up where they think they might be able to hit you, they obviously cannot, right? So you can do a standing jab, which is 4 frames, and that'll beat it out clean. So there's all kinds of good stuff you can do there. And then you can get into trade stuff, which again, we will talk about later. So standing heavy kick is +1, and it pushes you out just enough to avoid Ed's crouching light punch, which is good. That's another aspect of this that you want to look for. Unfortunately, this move only hits standing opponents, I believe. So we will check that out. Yeah, so it only hits standing opponents, so if they're crouch blocking, that's not going to do much for you. You're going to whiff and you'll probably get punished. But it is a normal that is, safe on block and advantageous on block, and spaces you out enough, which is very nice qualities to have. Those are nice qualities. Ryu also has back heavy kick, which is -4, I believe, but it's also another spacing trap move. So you're pushed back this far after both hits of it, and if he tries to crouching light punch, which Ed's crouching light punch is a 4-framer that gets a lot of the party started for him as well, so it's a good counter poke, it's a good counter attempt normal. So if he does something like that, you can basically punish counter because you're out of range. So if the opponent doesn't know how far Ryu's pushback is on back heavy kick, they might try to answer back with their fastest normal, and one that leads into combos and leads into their business, right? So knowing that back heavy kick pushes you far enough away and leaves you relatively safe, you can kind of set them up to whiff and do some really cool stuff. So you can go straight into a crouching jab to basically punish counter them really quickly, or you can wait and see if they whiffed something and then punish with something bigger. Something like that, right? So basically what you want to do when you're learning a new character is you want to go into training mode and have the opponent set to block all right there, and then just look at the frame data for each of their moves here and see what you are on block for everything. Because depending on what you are on block for these normals, it can dictate a lot of what your approach is and how you approach the opponent and what your most powerful pressure strings and abilities are. So for Ryu, we want forward heavy punch, we want standing heavy kick, back heavy kick as a spacing tool, and we also want crouching medium punch, because crouching medium punch is one that will trade with lights, so you can still kind of pressure with it, right? So this is crouching medium punch is 0 on block, which means you're even. So you are safe. You're not at an advantage. You're not at disadvantage. So essentially, being at 0 frames here on block means that if an opponent goes for a 4-frame move after that, and you go for a 4-frame move after that, you'll hit at the same time, and you'll trade. You can't get a lot off of this from my testing, but there are ways. This idea of trading like this is something that you can also deliberately set up, and you see pro players and top level players do this all the time, where they'll do certain strings that lure their opponent into hitting certain things in retaliation, and then they trade and they punish with a big punish that's at their advantage. So something like we do forward heavy punch is +3 on block, and then you do back heavy punch, which is 7-frame startup, right? So you're getting a trade on this, which looks like you're at a disadvantage, but in reality, if you do this, you can still punish and get your combo going. So you get interrupted in the middle of the animation of your back heavy punch during the hit's done, and it leaves the opponent still vulnerable enough to get hit with a follow-up if you're fast enough. So you can do something like this. Right? Another tactic that you want to look for when you're checking for normals and you're checking for advantage on block and all that stuff is chained normals as well. So in Street Fighter, you have the ability to chain light attacks, which means basically mashing lights instead of doing links after each one, right? So you could like wait for the animation to finish and then do another light punch, or you can just mash it and have them come out in rapid succession. This works with a lot of different lights, and you can even switch between them. So you could do like crouching light kick into crouching light punch, that kind of stuff. So because standing jab is -1, you can block after, but if you try to challenge again after the normal runs its course as it normally would, you'll get beat out by Ed, right? But if you chain, you counter hit him. You close that gap a little bit more and leave enough of a gap for him to get hit, which is something that is used a lot for spacing traps. Again, top tiers, oftentimes you'll see them with chained strings that basically have no interruption in between, so they're safe. They lock the opponent down for 2 or 3 jabs, which pushes them out far enough to make the opponent whiff whatever they're trying to do. as a retaliation, and then they punish that. So for Ryu, he doesn't have a true block string with light chaining as far as I've found, but you can do stuff like this. And then hit confirm into crouching medium punch because counter hit standing jab is 6 frames. So in a normal instance where you're trying to link jabs, you're getting beat out. If you chain instead, you'll get a counter hit if they try to challenge you in between there. And then you can obviously convert that into a big combo if you have your wits about you and you react to it and you hit confirm. Like that. So chaining jabs and chaining light attacks is also very important for this because, again, the frame data shows you there that you should not be able to frame trap your opponent with standing jab, but if you chain it and you mash it, you can definitely get that going, which is really, really powerful as well. Well, powerful relative to what you're looking for here. So with this same concept, you can look at special moves as well and see what special moves are what on block and how you can set that stuff up. So we'll start with probably Ryu's most effective pressure tool on block, which is the Hashogeki, specifically the Denjin charged one. If you do the heavy version there, it is +3. Again, very similar to forward heavy punch there. And you can set this up with different things here. So you can see that if you do standing heavy punch into heavy punch Denjin charged Hashogeki, that is a true block string. And then they will answer back after that. So if you're +3, you can do a lot of the similar things that you could do with forward heavy punch. So if I was trying to pressure the opponent, I could do something like this and get the counter hit. Or I could do the trade again as well. And then go into something like that. We're going to switch to regular Ryu with no Denjin charges. So I believe his OD Hashogeki is also +3 on block, right? So if you spend some meter there, it's +3 on block. You get similar traps as you would forward heavy punch and Denjin charged heavy punch Hashogeki. The regular heavy version without Denjin charge is +2. The other thing to take into consideration when you are looking for this stuff is Drive Rush. So Drive Rush adds an extra 4 frames of advantage to every block normal, and I believe also on hit as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we could do standing heavy punch is 4 frames on hit, and it's 8 frames if you Drive Rush first. So that works also for block, which means every normal that you're using, take all of those values that you just found and add 4 when you Drive Rush in. So basically, if standing heavy punch is normally -2 on block, Drive Rushing in makes it +2 because it adds 4 frames, and you can do that to make certain normals more advantageous for you that weren't before. So crouching medium punch being 0 on block, you could Drive Rush in, crouching medium punch, now you're 4 frames. Which is very, very useful. You could do something like this and frame trap instead, where normally you would not be able to frame trap there. I'm going to switch over to Aki for a second as well, because I think she has some interesting stuff there that is worth talking about on this same subject. So with Aki's normals, she has a lot that are also disadvantageous on block. So standing jab -1, crouching jab -1, standing light kick -3, standing medium punch -3, crouching medium punch -3, pretty much all of her main tools here. So crouching medium kick is a very important tool for Aki. You've seen that button probably a ton of times. It's a great normal. You see it used a lot after Drive Rush because of what it does there. It makes it +5 on block, which is very important. So standing heavy kick is -3 on block, but it has 9 frames of startup. So I wanted to show this because this is very important for her. And again, something else to kind of consider when you're looking for this stuff, as this is a good example with Aki. So crouching medium kick is normally +1, so I can frame trap with a standing light kick, which is 4 frames of startup normally. That'll beat 4-frame normal attacks, right? So, you know, obviously I can just do something like straight into whip, or if I want to confirm a little bit more, I can do something like this. Right? Pretty expensive, 3 bars for not a lot of damage, but, you know, still something you can do. But if you drive rush for crouching medium kick, you should be able to frame trap with standing heavy kick, I believe. And that's a trade. But you can also set up a nice trade combo there. So you could do something like this and get the crouching medium punch. Something like that, which is pretty nice. You can also get standing medium kick as a clean punish there. That's a clean counter hit. And that combos into standing medium punch, all that kind of good stuff. Another great normal for Aki here is forward heavy kick. You've probably seen this a lot. It's +2 on block normally. So if the opponent tries to punish with a 4-frame, they are getting frame trapped, which is a good way to open the opponent up. Yeah, something like that, right? But on drive rush, forward heavy kick, which again is another very common tactic for Aki, you can get, I believe, a frame trap into standing heavy kick. Yeah, that should work. There you go. So now that beats it clean. So it makes her forward heavy kick after drive rush very dangerous, which again is why you see Aki players use it so often. Gets the opening there, which is really good. So you'll see Aki players do a lot of drive rush crouching medium kick and drive rush forward heavy kick for very good reason, because drive rush forward heavy kick is +6 on block, drive rush crouching medium kick is +5 on block. Very good ways to set up exactly what we're talking about here in the frame traps and the pressure tools that you need to kind of open your opponent up. The other really cool thing about Aki is that when she chains her crouching light punches together, it's a true block string. So you can see I've got Ed set to countering with crouching light punch after only 1 hit, but because it's a true block string, he doesn't counter until the end. There's no gap in between those jabs that he can actually hit anything, which sets up for some more interesting stuff. So you can set things up like this. This is a nice new optimal combo there. Essentially, again, going back to Ryu, how his jabs, when you chain them, they leave a little bit of a gap, but enough to counter hit if the opponent is trying to check you back. With Aki having a true block string here, this pushes her out to a range where your opponent might think they can punish you with one of their faster normals. Again, Ed doing crouching light punch here, you would think he could punish, and if I only do 2 jabs, he's within range to actually touch me. But if I do all 3, I'm spaced out just enough for it to whiff, and that allows me to punish with all kinds of different things, right? It just spaces you out enough, and it's guaranteed because they can't really do anything in between that other than maybe drive reversal, which is not going to help them very much. So if an opponent is trying to challenge a true block string that is using chained light normals, and they try to challenge with drive reversal, they're going to get punished. Because even if I'm mashing, you can see the inputs there, I'm mashing, I can just react and stop when I see the flash, and then I get a 6-frame punish there for free. So I can probably do 2 in a row there. Yeah, like that, something like that. So having a string that is a true block string where you can chain lights together, it's a strong technique for characters to have. And again, they're not going to be getting any kind of reversal in between those things. So that is a guaranteed pressure string that pushes me out far enough. And it's a useful tactic to have. So overall, that's something that I feel is a very powerful training mode process that you can use when you're just starting out with a new character. You kind of don't know where to begin with them. Looking at their normals and looking at how advantageous on block they are and how negative on block they are is super helpful. It helps illustrate exactly how you kind of want to shape your offense, what kind of normals you want to be using from certain ranges, and a good place to start. So if you're not using this technique yourself, highly advise that you use it when you're learning a new character and kind of start there and see where it takes you.